Happy Sunday afternoon, Sooner Nation. Welcome to the Sooner Surge. It is football week in Oklahoma as the Sooners open up their season Friday night, 6 o'clock against the Temple Owls. Everyone's kind of been waiting, high anticipation for this game, Jay. And just moments ago on Oklahoma football on Twitter, they released, as of today, the depth chart. And Jay, we're going to get to that in a second. First, I want to say thanks to all those who are watching the content here at the Sooner Surge. If you're not one that is subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Jay, let's get right down to it. There were less oars than I anticipated, Jay. There's a couple, and look, you could probably look at this too much and not really get anything from it, or you could just scan over it and maybe miss a couple of things. And that's what we're going to try to do is pick out a couple of highlights, things that we think are, absolutes going into Friday night. And then those other things where staff looks like they've left some things open. So, Jay, I'm going to start with, I think at the top where you got to start, and it does appear that the backup quarterback is going to be Michael Hawkins. That's one thing I think we can take from the depth chart.
Yeah, that's one thing I took from it. I mean, there's no or listed on any of the quarterback names for the depth chart for quarterbacks. So Jackson Arnold 1, Michael Hawkins 2, Casey Thompson 3. And you mentioned the oars. I actually think there was quite a bit of oars in my opinion. But what we can look at is there were some positions that there wasn't one listed at all. And I think that's maybe what you're referring to when you go down the list. I mean, you look at a position at Cheetah. I mean, no or at all. 1, 2, 3. You got Cheetah. You got Kendall Dolby, Samuel Omashigo, Reggie Powers in that order listed at Cheetah. There's a few positions like that you can tell. And yeah, a lot of the oars are on maybe the backup and that sort of thing. But overall, I agree. The Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins thing, because you look at the offseason, that's kind of been the talk is, even who's going to be the backup and how they're going to go with that. It looks like that's what they're going with game one.
Yeah, and if you look at the offensive line, a unit that people have been curious about, it looks like there's 3 solidified right now as we speak. That's Michael Tarquin at left tackle, Jacob Sexton at guard, Fabechi at guard, and Hickman at center, Jay. So actually 4. I think I said 3, but that's pretty much 4 solidified. On the other tackle position, there is an or. Jake Taylor or Spencer Brown. So it looks like that one has not been decided on who's going to start. But, Jay, a position group that a lot of oars are happening, and you go back to last year, it was a position group that early on nobody knew, and really even middle in the season nobody knew, and it's running back, Jay. It seems to be that way again.
It seems to be that way, and, I think last year was it, I don't know if it was DeMarco that said it, but they kind of went on a week-by-week basis and kind of in the depth chart who was going to get the start and everything. I mean, right now you have listed as starters Gavin Sawchuk or Javonte Barnes, then Sam Franklin or Taylor Tatum, and then Caleb Hicks. I was a little bit surprised, to be honest with you, where I saw Caleb Hicks's name. Just to be up front with you, I did not expect to see him down there as the 5th running back listed. That was a little surprise to me. When you talk about surprises from this depth chart, that was one I took away. I also do think injuries might come to play in some of this when you look at the right tackle, Jake Taylor or Spencer Brown, because I think if Jake Taylor's healthy, I think Jake Taylor's your starter. Same goes for, Andrew Anthony listed as the 3rd receiver, as one of the receivers I thought was also maybe probably due to injury. The receivers are all over the board. I felt it was that way last year. I think you kind of got the same thing this year, and you can't tell a whole lot from the depth chart. Also, tight end was kind of interesting when you have Bauer Sharp or Jake Roberts. I would have thought Bauer Sharp has that locked up, but
I think that depends on the set they're in.
And that might be the or.
And that's a lot of the oars. It's what are they going to run on the first play? So they have the option of choosing some guys. But Jay, one thing to note: Devon Mitchell is not on the depth chart.
That's right. Not right now.
That's a fact. Devon Mitchell is not on the depth chart. Something that's interesting. I noticed that right off the bat. Real quickly, Jay, we've talked mostly about the offense. We're going to get the defense in a second. Quickly on the special teams. Looks like Peyton Bowen going to start returning punts. Looks like kick returners as of now maybe could be Bowman and Farouk back there. Kicker is an or. Kellner or Schmidt, which I think after we watched the Doug Deacon kind of video clip that it looked like they have not decided on that. But let's transition to the defense, Jay. What stands out on the defensive side on that depth chart?
Well, I think defensively, you look at a few things. I already mentioned it earlier with Cheetah. It looks like it's a locked-in Kendall Dolby. I don't think that's a surprise. Looking at the cornerbacks, I was a little bit surprised. You look at one cornerback, Des Malone or Gentry Williams or Jacoby Johnson. Basically tells me they don't know yet on that one, probably, or they're still fighting for that battle. And then left cornerback, Kenai Walker or Woody Washington. So I don't know. To me, some of this depth chart stuff means nothing. That's my opinion. I think we can look at these and say something, but I guarantee you if we went back and look at last year's opening game depth chart, in fact, I remember looking at it before the game and doing a video, and then when the game started thinking that's not anything that had to do with the depth chart at all. So I don't know. I think you can only take this with a grain of salt. It's fun. We're 5 days from football, so it's fun to look at it. But yeah, you can only take. You got nose tackle. You got Dominique Williams or DeJoun Terry. You got Jaden Jackson as the starter at the defensive tackle position. So I don't know. Overall, not a whole lot you can take, I don't think.
I agree with you, Jay. It's fun to look at. I think there are some things that you can take and say, looks like this is how it's going to be on Friday night. But I also think that as they put that out, it says as of August 25th. Listen, coaches are smart. It's game week. If you want to get the attention of some of your players, put out a depth chart with some oars on it and say, there's 5 days left, because I think that happens, Jay, where guys have 4 or 5 days now to solidify themselves in a role. And also the oar is there because there's just a lot of moving parts on defense where guys can play multiple positions. Deshaun McCullough, we know he's been in a boot. Look, like what role does that play in him being on the third? I mean, there's just so many, but I do think you can use it as motivation, and it does tell some things.
Well, I mean, if you go off this depth chart, for instance, on defense, we'll get to linebackers in a minute, but if you go off this depth chart for defense, if they were in a 4-man front, based on this, you would have 3 spots filled, and that would be Ethan Downs at one edge, R. Mason Thomas at the other edge, Jaden Jackson as one of the defensive tackles, and then the other one would be Dominique Williams or DeJoun Terry. Where if you were in a 3-man front, it would be Dominique or DeJoun, and then Ethan. And but based off this, now we all know that's going to change. You got Adebore down there at the oar with Caden Woolard. It probably depends on run or pass. Like you said, there's so many options. You can't really look at it and know for sure. Same with linebackers, Jeremy. We're going to get to that now. I mean, obviously, Danny Stutzman, Mike linebacker starter. You got behind him Kobe, McKenzie, or Jaron Canick. And you move over to the wheel. The wheel is kind of interesting. I thought when you have there's an or all the way around. It's Kip Lewis or Lewis Carter or Deshaun McCullough. Jeremy, I have no clue what they're going to throw out there.
Here's what I'm going to say, Sooner fans. I think or is synonymous for that they're going to play a lot of guys, at those positions. I think where you see ors across the board, they're going to rotate in a lot. And I think as Sooner fans, that's what a lot of Sooner fans have been wanting. They want the depth to show up. They want it to be there, game in, game out. And that may be what we have here. But there it is, Sooner Nation. Check out the depth chart. Oklahoma Football Twitter has put it out there. There's our thoughts on it. What are some thoughts that you have? Comment in the chat. Put it in there. Comment on this video about any kind of things that stand out to you as Sooner fans. And Friday night, it all gets started. Thanks again for watching the content here at the Sooner Surge. We'll catch you next time.